These are all plants that are propagated. And if you want to build yourself a food forest or a nursery garden center, this is something you got to learn. Maybe. I don't know. I've never had one before. Grafting too. A little fun grafting some Trichocereus bagdesi monstrosa to some Opuntia. And it's taken. But I was going to show you something about, what do you call it? Cloning. So here I got these elderberry trees. I grow them all over the yard. You've seen them in other videos. And every year now, I prune them down to the main trunk so they're like a stick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of these branches, and all these little bumps on the branches have the potential to turn into roots. And especially these buds here, but these bumps can turn into roots too, or leaves. So I'm gonna come here at the base. I gotta prune it anyway. We'll take it over to the greenhouse. Brilliant. Now we're in the greenhouse. This is mixed, so these are elderberry clones that are taken. We have a little bit of Pinot Noir grapes. We have different citrus, some pomegranate, some acorns that fell in, decided to grow. Bunch of stuff. There's some kind of chestnut or an apple right there. All this is pomegranate that's been cloned. Needs a little water. All pomegranate, hundreds of them. And then all Pinot Noir clones. And then in the meantime, when I'm not cloning, I'm growing vegetables, trying to clone some pineapple, got some tomatoes. I really reset this little cloning house. Container potatoes, things like that. So I'm gonna come on over to here. And I have a jar of honey. So I'm gonna set this jar of honey kind of out of the rain. I have the mister on right now. Here's the honey. And why honey, you might ask? Well, honey is a healer, and that is a wound. Honey comes from plants, comes from flowers. So you dip your stick in the honey, and then stick it in the potting soil. Pretty straightforward, huh? Here's another piece of that stick, elderberry cane that I just took off the tree. Dip it in some honey. A couple inches over, same deal. And you'll see, like right here, it forks off. So you can go just above that. And then, so you have like a little stick like that. Got this guy. And there we go. So here, each one of these can turn into a new tree. I don't really like introducing dirt to the honey, even though it's being used strictly for cloning. Yeah, like one branch can do quite a bit. And the main thing is you want to keep them in moist soil. You want to dip them in honey. And I bought, commercial grade cloning hormones and stuff online, highly toxic stuff. Actually, I think you're supposed to need a special ag permit or something to get them. And for some reason they sold them to me anyway. And they were pretty effective. I'd get like 40% to 60% cloning rate, which is not bad. But it's not as good as like over there, where it's like 100% clone rate, or over here, where it's a very, very high clone rate. See, that patch over there is not getting the mist, so I got to add another sprayer on, or move the whole contraption a little closer. But if you can keep them from desiccating and put a little mist on them, they'll have time to photosynthesize and make a little bit of roots happen before they desiccate. Once the roots come into play, then they can take moisture up to the leaves, but not really much before that. All the moisture, you'll see this twig, all the moisture that goes to the top has to come through that little wound there. So, a little touch of some honey, and into the potting soil. And I mix those little crystals, there's little polymer crystals in with the soil, and that retains moisture longer, cuts down on my water consumption, keeps the plants nice and healthy. So, my friends, that is how you clone elderberry. And out here in the West, we have this blue elderberry. It's in the black elderberry family, and it makes such a tasty wine. It's killer. I've been sipping on it. I have so much more berries in the freezer to make into wine. And you can always simmer off the alcohol. The alcohol acts as a preservative to preserve the juice. And then the juice is anti-viral, and it's really high in antioxidants. And you can cook it down, simmer it into like a syrup, maybe sugar it up a little bit, and then add it on top of ice cream or on top of like shortcakes and stuff like that. Ooh, elderberry shortcake. Now I got my mind thinking about dessert. So I would just, if you have to prune your tree, clone the branches. This greenhouse that we're in costed like $300 about 8 years ago. It collapsed. I had to replace the plastic a time or two. Actually twice. This is the second time I've had to replace the plastic. I surrounded it all in chicken wire. That gives it a little more rigidity, a little more support, especially the plastic, so it doesn't sag under a heavy rain. But also in the summer months, sometimes it'll get too hot. I strip all the plastic off and then just let it ventilate freely, and this will keep the birds out, or most of the birds and chickens and dogs and things that might hop in my greenhouse and trample everything and consume all my vegetables. Tomatoes are good and easy to clone too. Same way. And all the little hairs on your tomato branch can turn into roots. And so you go down to if you don't save your seeds, you can always go down to Home Depot or whatever hardware store or nursery sells, the good tomato plants in this like early spring or late winter, right when they start. Get the biggest plant that you can afford, get it grown, and then just use that as the mother plant. Start cloning it and producing more and more and more. So all these elderberries on my property, there were 0 when we moved in. Now there's like 30 of them. And then we have a bunch more cloning. I skipped a couple years and didn't clone them. But now we're cloning them because one of the nurseries in my area was really, really interested in elderberries. And they grow really well in the area. So I'm going to be selling pomegranate, Pinot Noir, elderberry, wine crops, yeah? And I'm just building and building inventory, and the longer they sit around on my property, the more valuable they become. So what would have been like a little $5 clone, just brand new roots, like all those are little $5, probably $10, $15 clones now that they've been growing and maturing over the past year. They'll mature into, the bigger the pot, the more valuable they become. So once you have them to where the roots are popping out of like a 4.5 gallon pot, then they're $25, $30, $40. And then if you put them in a 20 gallon pot, then they're worth $100, $200, because you've had to tend to them for all those years. And I prune them, and then clone those prunes too, those clippings, those scions, and I keep cloning and pruning and cloning and pruning and cloning, and creating like a Garden of Eden, and giving away trees to friends and family, and just supplying the world around me with productive greenery, because I'm a localist, not a globalist, a localist. So you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Now you know the secret to cloning. It's honey. It's keeping the leaves from desiccating in the heat. It's keeping your potting soil nice and moist, and you'll have a high success rate. And then maybe even steal my idea of selling all these plants to the nursery. So thanks for watching, guys. This is Wild Riley, enjoying the greenhouse on a nice sunny Central Coast day.